On this video, I will show you exactly how to achieve a high win rate and consistently make a lot of money in low stakes cash games. All you need to do for now is watch this video until the end and apply what you learn here next time you play poker. And if you would like to test your skills without the risk of losing real money, I recommend you to try out Replay Poker. Replay Poker is an online platform where you can play poker for free without the risk of losing real money. There you can play versus players from all over the world in a website that offers a vast selection of poker games and a variety of fun experiences for players from all skill levels. And the best part of it is that it requires no money to play and no software to download it. To play on Replay Poker, all you gotta do is click the first link in the description and follow the instructions to join. Now, coming back for today's vlog, I really hope this video helps boosting your win rate and also make you aware of what it really takes to be a profitable player in 2024 and beyond. Today we're playing a 1-2 session in Chicago. We buy in for the max, which is 500. In the first hand we see these pocket queens on the cutoff. The player in my left is straddling every time, which is great for us because whenever he straddles, we are the second best position at the table. And the place where you sit makes a lot of difference for your win rate. So we are in a great position. Everybody folds to me and I open raise to $20. Button and big blind call. And we go three-way to a flop that comes queen 5-8 rainbow. We got top set. My image at this table is of a really aggressive guy. Big blind checks to me and I see bet to 35, which is around half pot. Button calls right away and big blind folds. Turn is a blank, a 6 of hearts. I'm not gonna slow play and I'm gonna keep betting. I bet $100 this time and he snap calls. The river is one of the best cards in the deck for us, an 8 of hearts. Now flush gets there, but we got the best possible full house. Hopefully he has a flush or trips and he's gonna call our all-in of $280 in a pot of 338. We go all in, no reason to slow play here. He thinks for around 30 seconds and in the end he decides to fold and we win this hand.
Good boss.
As I said before, this guy is straddling every time, which is great for us. If we were, let's say, in the position on his left, that would be terrible because we would be the first one to act every time he straddles. And the next hand is a fun one. I see ace-3 offsuit from the big blind. Everybody folds to the button who raises to $7. He looked like the type of player that would be raising pretty wide from here. And even though ace-3 offsuit is not advised on GTO Wizard to 3-bet, on 1-2, 1-3 and 2-3, GTO is not the best way to play. The best way to play is adapting your game versus the players you are playing against in a way that you exploit their tendency. Effective stack is 220 and I decide to 3-bet to $26. He folds. I show the ace of spades and we win this hand. The hand right next to it, I have pocket 7s from the small blind. The same player from last hand open raises to 7 from the cutoff. And here I believe his range is wider than usual again, so I'm gonna 3-bet to 27. He quickly 4-bets to $80 and I don't think this fast 4-bet represents a lot of strength, honestly. I believe that if he had a monster like aces, kings, queens, jacks, he would at least take his time before 4-betting. This looks more to me like a ego 4-bet, one that he thinks I'm 3-betting a lot, so he's gonna try to exploit me by 4-betting more often. His effective stack is 220 and I got a pretty decent hand, one that is flipping against a bunch of stuff and I don't think I will be dominated so often in this situation. So I decided to trust my read and put him all in for $220. He quickly folds and we win this hand. Next hand I'm in the cutoff with king 10 suited. My big friend on the button straddles again to 10. Middle position calls and here we're gonna raise for sure. That's a great spot. I raise to 35. I wanna play in position versus the limper and king 10 is a hand that develops pretty well post flop. Button folds and only middle position calls. We go heads up to a flop that we missed it completely. 2-3-4 rainbow. We don't even have a redraw. He checks to us and here I believe I made a mistake because when I see bets, I don't make him fold any hand that is better than mine. Any ace high he's gonna call, any pair he's gonna call. So I believe the best option here is checking, but it's not what I did. I see betted $45 to around half pot. He re-raises to $100, which represents a lot of strength from him. I fold and we lose this hand. This next hand I see ace queen offsuit from the middle position. Button straddles to 5 and 2 players limp. You can see that this table is great. A lot of limpers who shouldn't be doing that, but it's great for us because we can exploit them in position. Under the gun raises to 25 and here we got an easy 3-bet. I make it 75 to go and he quickly calls. We go heads up to a flop that comes ace queen 7 rainbow. We make top 2 pair and here we want to extract the maximum value we can. When he checks to us, we could both check or bet small here. But due to my image in this table, I believe if I see bet small, he's gonna keep calling pretty wide. So I see bet to 55, which is less than 1/3 of the pot. He calls pretty fast and the turn is a jack of clubs. He checks to us again and I'm gonna bet again. I bet $90 this time, which is little less than 1/3 of the pot. And now he goes into the tank.
I really feel like you're bluffing. I know you got a high card because you're not raising it that much, especially the way you play.
Bro, I like you, but I'm not gonna show, okay?
No, yeah,
I like
I'm
you.
leaving anyways.
We'll see it on his next post.
He shows pocket nines and he was considering calling again. And you can realize by this showdown how the table almost never believes that I have a good hand. In the next hand I see king jack offsuit from the small blind. Hijack raises to 10 and cutoff calls. Both of those players were pretty tight. They were not playing many hands and I believe their average hand is gonna be better than king jack offsuit. Also, I'm out of position from the small blind, which is the worst position in the table. So I decided to fold. I don't know why I'm doing this. I showed my hand so I could clean my lose aggressive image a little bit in the table and also maybe I could get a showdown from him. But I didn't and the next hand is a pretty interesting one. I see ace 5 suited from the cutoff and button straddles to 10. Middle position calls, low jack limps as well and I'm gonna raise in position. I make it 50 this time. I won't mind if all of them fold and I win this hand pre-flop, but it's not what happens. Middle position decides to go all in for 110. I gotta call 60 for a pot that has $183. For this call to be profitable, my average equity has to be around 20 to 25%. And ace 5 suited will have more than that against basically every hand besides pocket aces. So of course we're gonna call. The board is not good for us at all. And he shows jack 10 offsuit. So he limp raised shoved all in with jack 10 offsuit, which is great for us. I mean, in this time we lost, but this hand selection and the way he played is awful, which is great for us because it provides more space for us to make money over his mistakes. My image is of a really aggressive guy, and the next hand we play versus the same player. I see pocket queens from early position and I open raise to 12. Middle position and small blind call. We go through ace to a flop that comes 4, 5, 6 with 2 hearts and I don't have a queen of hearts. This flop is not great for our range, but most likely we're still winning here with pocket queens. Small blind leads to $20 and here I could either raise or call. And because I believe I'm winning and my hand is fragile versus hands that have open-ender, flush draws, I decided to raise in position to $68. The guy in my left called the 68, which is weird, but I still believe I'm beating him. He was just calling every bet I made because he thought I was way more aggressive than I actually am, I guess. And then small blind goes all in for $267. Now we're in a tough spot. There's a relevant chance we're not beating small blind, but he could have flush draws, open-ender and flush draws in his range. This is a pretty close spot. I gotta call 200 for a pot that has 415. So my odds are not terrible. The guy in my left has like $300 in his stack, so if I call here, I'm gonna have to put him all in. And what would you do here? Would you go all in or would you fold? Let me know in the comments. And after considering my options, I decided to trust small blind and fold. Player in my left called, so we're gonna see a showdown.
Yes!
He's got the low end.
Oh, I know. It's hard for me to
I got a flush.
My hands are
Player in the small blind had 2-3 suited and player in my left had a flush draw and got there in the river and we save a little more than $200. And the next hand is a fun one. I see ace jack suited from the cutoff and button straddles again to $8. Hijack limps 8 and I raise to 32 in position. Button calls me as usual. Hijack also calls and we go through ace to a flop that comes ace 4 8 with 2 spades and 1 diamond. That's a great flop for us. Hijack checks to me and I see bet half pot, button quickly calls, and the turn is a 3 of diamonds. Now I got a nut flush draw as well with my top pair with a jack kicker. I believe there is a decent chance I'm still winning this guy because he's calling me with a bunch of crap, and I also have an extra equity with the flush draw. So I'm gonna keep betting here to 105, which is around half pot again. Button snap calls. In the river comes one of the best cards in the deck, a 7 of diamonds. Now we got the nuts and we wanna extract the maximum value we can. I decided to bet 200 so he could hero call us with a bunch of hands. He quickly calls, I show the nuts, and we win this hand. The table right next to ours had a lot of fun players who were inviting me to play there, so I came to their table. In the first hand, I see King 6 offsuit from the big blind. 5 players limp, which is a great sign, and I check. And we go 6 ways to a flop that comes King 4-7 with 2 hearts and 1 spade. There's $12 in the pot, and I decided to lead to $7 to protect my equity. Playing my left calls, and he is one of the big fishes at this table. Like, he plays a lot of hands that he wasn't supposed to be playing, and I'm strongly confident that I'm winning this guy. Cutoff calls as well, so 3 players see the turn, which comes an 8 of diamonds. Now we're playing for a 5 as well to make a straight. I decide to bet again to $15. Only player in my left calls, and the river is a 10 of diamonds. Now I could either decide to bet or check, and I decided to check and allow him to bluff, and then I would call in case he bets. And then he quickly bets $60. He's polarizing here, which means he's saying that he either has a great hand or he has nothing. I gotta call 60 for a pot that has 123. For this call to be profitable, I gotta be right around 1/3 of the time. And I'm looking at him, trying to figure out if I will be right more than this amount, so my call is good. And then I start talking to him. If I fold, you're gonna show the bluff?
Go for it. Pay for it.
Pay for it?
Pay for it.
Damn. I call. He says he's a good call and mucks, so I don't need to show my cards, and I muck as well, and we win this hand. We're winning $550 for now. In the next hand, we see King 9 offsuit from the button. 3 limpers before me, and I could either limp or raise this hand, and I decided to punish them and raise to $17 in position. Player from the last hand calls, cutoff calls as well, and we go 3 ways to a flop that comes 8-8-3 with 2 clubs. I don't have any club in my hand. They check to me, and I decide to see bet, hopefully to find a fold from them, which doesn't happen. Big blind calls, and the turn is an ace of spades. This turn is better for my range than his, but I don't even think he thinks about ranges, so that doesn't make a big difference. He checks to me and I check back, and the river comes a 9 of clubs. Now there is a relevant chance we are winning, and he checks to us. And here we could either decide to check or try to bet for thin value. And I decided to go with the second option and bet 40 to extract value from whatever he decides to call, because I don't think he has an 8 or an ace. So I have the best 9. He calls, we show our hand. It's good, and we win this hand. Next hand, I see pocket 10s from the cutoff. Middle position raises to 10, and there's 1 caller in my right. That's a great spot for a 3-bet, and calling here would be terrible. I 3-bet to 40, and only under the gun calls. We go heads up to a flop that comes 10-7-9 with 2 clubs. Under the gun decides to lead to $25. We got a great hand, but there is a lot of cards we don't like, and we're kind of fragile versus many hands in his range. So I decided to raise small to $50. He quickly calls, and the turn is one of the cards we didn't want to see, an 8 of hearts. Now any jack or 6 makes a straight, and there are 2 flush draws in the board. Under the gun leads now again to $50, and here we got a clear call in position, and that's what we do. We call, and the river is one of the best cards in the deck, a 9 of diamonds. Now we have the best full house. He decides to bet again to 75, and I take my time and put him all in.
A chance to be on TV.
In the end, he decides to fold, and I show the hand to make him feel good about his fold. I'm showing just because you're my friend.
Oh, full house.
Otherwise, I wouldn't show. And you would be like, thinking this guy fucking bluffed me.
Now you're gonna put his hands in there.
There you go, bro. You made the vlog. He was a great guy who wanted to be on the vlog, And here you go. This table is very loose, full of players who want to see a lot of flops. In the next hand, we see black aces from the button. There are 2 limpers before us, and I raise to 15 in position. Small blind calls, big blind calls, and other 2 players call. And we go 5 ways to a flop that comes ace, jack, 5 rainbow. We got top set again. They all check to me, and now my role is to extract the most value I can. So I decide to check back because there are no flush draws in this board and not many cards that I don't like to see in the turn. So I check, and the turn is a 9 of club. We still have the best possible hand here. Now small blind leads to $20 and under the gun +1 calls. We're gonna raise for sure. We raise to 55 and only small blind calls. In the river comes a queen of spades. Now the only hands we are losing here is king 10 and 10-8. Small blind checks and we're gonna bet for value. We bet 100 and he snap calls. We show our hand and he mucks and we win this one. In the next hand we see pocket queens from the under the gun +1. This table was really loose, so I decided to open raise bigger than I was doing, so I open raise to $20. Middle position and button call. We go heads up to a flop that comes 10 jack 7 with 2 hearts and I have the queen of hearts. I'm gonna keep betting here. I make it 55 to go, which is roughly 80% of the pot. Only middle position calls and the turn is a 10 of diamonds. I don't think he has many 10s in his range, so I'm gonna bet again. I make it 110 now, which is roughly 2/3 of the pot. He calls again and the river is a complete blank, a 5 of spades. His effective stack is $260 and I'm pretty confident I'm still winning here, but there is a small chance I'm not. And here I'm gonna put him all in and hopefully get called by Jack X hands, or even worse than that because my image is of a pretty aggressive guy. So I put him all in for 260. He quickly calls, I show the queens and he shows 10-8 offsuit. So he called my open raise pre-flop with 10-8 offsuit and got lucky on the turn. Good for him.
Gotta make my money back from that set you flop, bro.
We're up close to $600 for now, and the next hand is a bomb pot. And we got pocket aces on a pretty interesting board. There's $80 in the pot and I'm in the cutoff. They all check to me and I bet $25. Only button calls. He's the same player from last hand. The turn is a 7 on both boards, which is a complete blank. I bet $100 this time and he calls again. The river is a blank again on both boards. And there is a relevant chance I'm winning both boards because there's only 1 king left in the deck. And this player already shown to be pretty loose and to be calling with many hands that he is not supposed to be calling. There is no hand that is beating me off both boards and I'm gonna bet for value again. I decide to bet 150. He quickly calls. I show the aces and we win on both boards.
Oh my god. Oh my fucking god.
We're back at winning almost $1,000 and here I make this sign to the camera to say that this table is great, full of players that are playing really bad pre-flop and post-flop, so we got a great opportunity to make a lot of money. That's something you should always be aware of what is the level of the table you are playing against. And if you're playing a table that has a lot of bad players, you should stick to that table and make the most profit you can. In the next hand I see 7-8 suited from the middle position. I open raise to 10, low jack and high jack call, and the flop comes 8 ace 4 with 2 hearts. We got a middle pair and there's a relevant chance we're winning here. I see bet half pot, cut off, re-raises to 35, and because he only has $46 left, I decide to put him all in. Maybe he has a flush draw or something like that. He calls and he shows ace 8, so he got top 2 pair, and our chance to win here is really small.
Damn.
Well,
I'm drawing dead. I'm drawing to 5 and 6. Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
Oh my fucking god. No. On the river.
And in the end we win this hand. We got really lucky. That's a sick situation.
What the fuck is that? He got on the river.
Nice hand, man.
And we win this hand. In the next hand I see queen 9 offsuit from the cutoff. Everybody folds to me and I open raise to $7. Small blind and big blind call, and 3 players see a flop of ace queen 7 with 2 diamonds and I don't have any diamond in my hand. They check to me, and even though I believe I'm winning here, I rather checking instead of betting, so that's what I do. We all check and the turn is a queen of spades. Now the chance we're winning is even higher. Small blind leads to $15 and I'm gonna raise here. I make it $30. Small blind calls and the river comes another 7. Now we got a full house. He leads to 35, and here we're gonna raise for sure. The question is how much, and we wanna raise an amount that he's gonna call with the most amount of hands in his range. So he raised to 105 and he snap calls. We show our hand, he shows the ace, and we win this one. Next hand, I'm in the big blind with ace 10 offsuit. 4 players limp, and I believe ace 10 offsuit is ahead of their average hand, so I'm gonna raise to 30 to punish those limpers. If they fold, I'm gonna be fine, and if they call, I'm gonna play out of position with a stronger range than theirs because I was the one who raised and they were the one who limped. They all fold and we win this hand. And the next hand is the most interesting hand in this episode in my opinion. I'm on the button with pocket aces. Low jack open raises to 15 and hijack calls. We're gonna 3-bet for sure. I make it 50 to go.
How much is it?
Let's find out. 50.
Don't do it, bro.
48, bro.
Huh?
This,
Don't
you
do
already
it.
2,000.
I might see something crazy. That's a great thing about poker.
We got
You might, man.
Big blind decides to call, which is nice, and low jack 4 bets to $200. That's a dream spot for us, and here we got 2 options. The first option is calling and disguising the strength of our hand, which will also invite big blind to call again, hopefully. And the second option is raising and most likely get called because he's pretty committed already. And here I want to decide the option that is more profitable in terms of EV, which is expected value. And I believe because when I call, I'm gonna incentivize big blind to call as well. I believe the best option is disguising the strength of our hand and calling in position. So that's what I do. I call the $200 with pocket aces. Big blind folded and we go heads up to a flop that comes 5-3-9 with 2 hearts and I have the ace of hearts. Low jack goes all in for the remaining 290 in his stack and I snap call.
Aces.
He asked if I flopped a set. Turns a queen of clubs. River a 4 of hearts. I show my hand. He shows he has jacks, and in the end we win this one. Most likely the expected value from raising pre-flop or calling is really close, but I still think calling is better. This table was full of great guys who I really consider my friends right now. I can't wait to go back to Chicago and see all of those people. And in the end we win $1,500 in almost 9 hours of game. And this is gonna be the end of this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, there are hundreds of other episodes in this channel that you might also enjoy as well. Just click any of the options in the screen. The mission of this channel is helping you become a better poker player, and see you next time.